afternoon, everybody. My name is Catharine Enosa. I'm here with Mayor Councillor Fred Gela. We're at the official opening of the Warraber IKC today. Mayor, the question I want to ask today is, from your personal perspective, of why do you think IKC is important for the whole of the Torres Strait region?
IKC is very, very important, and we're working with all the relevant agencies to look at rolling out the same initiative in all of our communities. As we know, our communities are very remote. I consider our communities to be the remote of the remotest. Out in the communities, you've got the schools and whatnot that's available. I mean, books are readily available for kids through the schools and that. But the IKC to me is much more than just a library. It's got a number of initiatives there that can address many of the shortcomings that we experience in our communities because of remoteness. The internet cafe that is hosted within the IKC itself, that internet cafe can be actually utilized by elderly or mature age students to actually engage in long distance education and be available too as well for our school students to conduct much needed research when they're doing the assignments and so forth. Out in the communities, broadband is not available. So a lot of the organizations have the internet access, but not all of our homes. So that is a big issue. It's a huge gap, especially if you want to try and address the Indigenous disadvantage in terms of closing the gap. So the internet cafe that's hosted from within the facility, it plays a very integral role in terms of connecting the dots, bringing people closer together, and I guess providing our people and our community with a much needed opportunity and to afford them that ability to engage in learning. It also creates an environment for our community where we can all them stories and them songs and them dances and normally all elders Bujumi, and they still are the keepers, the safeguarders, the protectors with them same knowledge, and they pass it down from one generation to another. I think our history has always been it's never been documented. It's always been spoken about. So I think it's a must that and this is where the IKC has a very integral role, I believe, is we need to work with the elders to look at developing programs around recording our history, songs and dance, and the IKC could definitely serve as a safekeeping place for that information.
That's great. Thank you so much for that, and we appreciate your time this afternoon. Thank you. So now I'm with Janette Wright, the CEO and the State Librarian. Janette, a question I wanted to ask was, why has State Library invested in so much to support TSIC with getting IKCs out into the Torres Strait communities?
Well, I'm very pleased that the State Library can be in partnership with the Council, because I believe that the Indigenous knowledge centres are a way for, particularly for children, to increase their reading skills, and I think that's important for their future. I think it's an important way for people in a community to access knowledge from around the world, and the State Library is in a really good position to help the councils develop their own knowledge centres, and that it's a partnership that requires both the community to be involved and also committed to, because there's no point putting facilities on an island and then not having anybody use it. So it has to be owned by the community, and it's good for us to provide that global aspect, and sometimes we can help also with providing professional development for people who are working in IKCs. And the IKCs to me are like the little library that I used when I was a child in remote parts of Western Australia. It was a place for me to go and read about the rest of the world, and it was for me a window to the world. And I'd like to think that children here on these islands can have a window to the world and a way of creating knowledge about Torres Strait and making it available to other people.
That's great. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon.